Hit it, Fergie.
All the time, yeah. All t
I don't know where
all the what the fuck are those lyrics?
all the time I turn around, brothers gather around,
Around,
always
I was
looking at me up and
looking
down,
down,
looking
looking
at
at my
my
That's okay. Yeah, we're definitely putting that at the beginning. Okay.
Anywho, I'll try to record too. All right. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome back to Steel City Screams. Happy Valentine's Day. My name is Ashley Ray,
I'm Brindamai.
and we're just gonna have a little Valentine's Day type episode. Talk about Valentine's Day, maybe some movies that involve Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I
I,
mean, I think a lot of relationship stuff will pop up for us too. Because there's a lot of different kinds of relationships and what
no, nothing. Relationships. I'm like,
there's a
okay.
lot of different kinds of relationships. You have business relationships and your work life with coworkers, your bosses, all that stuff, people you work with. You have your normal romantic relationship, you have friendships, you have family members that you have relationships with. And a lot of times I'm an open book, depending on how comfortable I feel with people. I think because I'm here with Ashley, a lot of stuff will easily come out in a lot of relationship stuff that we talk about today. Um, so yeah, you're gonna see a different side of me personally and probably Ashley personally. So
Yeah, and also you might catch a glimpse of my cat Love. Her name is Love, and she is very much celebrated on Valentine's Day. She wants to be with me, and she's going
mhm.
a little crazy in her little castle right now. So
Little princess. We love the cat.
I love Love, and I love yeah, I love Love. See, when she comes out, I'll make sure to get her on screen and be like,
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
um. So obviously we're recording this a little before Valentine's Day, but it will be released Valentine's Day, which is also Ash Wednesday. So if you get ashes,
Hmm.
like me, cool. Um, do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
No, I never have plans anymore. I don't know if that's like sad, but like I just don't. I personally have just been in a funk, honestly. Stuff's been a little slow and it's driving me crazy and I'm just trying to work as much as I can. Um and it just ain't happening at the very moment. So it's been a little stressful, can't lie, can't lie. Do you?
Um, besides going to church for Ash Wednesday, I don't think so.
Period.
Um, but I think it's cool. I might do a little thing for Valentine's Day, maybe send out some Valentines for some friends.
I love
Um,
that.
I have some guy friends too, but I think that might be weird if I do that.
Listen,
Um,
if
so
they take it a certain way, like a weird kind of way, like they're weird for that. It doesn't always have to be that deep. Um yeah, I mean you're just sending something friendly because Valentine's Day, we literally loosely talked about this before we started recording. It's hard for a lot of people. Like I honestly don't like Valentine's Day. It's not yeah. And I don't know if it's because like I don't have a partner um or not. I just never really cared for it. Like of course, Valentine's Day doesn't have to particularly just be like for couples, but I it could be for family, we all love each other kind of thing, whatever. I don't know, I just never really cared for it.
I guess I was so when I was younger for Valentine's Day, you know how Santa Claus comes on Christmas, Cupid would come to my house, my family's house.
I love
And
that.
so I'd get some little gifts from Cupid. Um, so that was always, I think that's why I always enjoyed Valentine's Day. Um, but yeah, it is definitely mostly a holiday that is for couples. And so it is kind of weird, like it's like a weird like I dress up in like pink and red and stuff like that. But yeah, Valentine's Day is definitely a hard time for a lot of people.
Hmm.
And I feel bad. And I think it's just a weird time too in February, but I think Valentine's Day is a beautiful holiday for couples where they should celebrate their love for each other. And so yeah, it's um it's a tricky one. Valentine's Day is very tricky for me.
Yeah.
'Cause, so, but something you can always do is watch My Bloody Valentine on Valentine's Day.
Period. Period.
Period. Period.
I haven't watched
Do
that
you like
movie in a really long time.
do you
So
prefer
maybe
the
that'll be my
original?
plans.
Yeah, do you prefer the original or the I don't remember what year it was.
Oh, it might have been 2009. Why does my computer keep shaking?
Yeah.
Stop. Um, they're just gonna see my camera go boo 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 boo. Let me see what year the remake was. I want to say it was 2009 now. My
I
bloody.
remember seeing it in theaters when it came out.
I was correct. It is 2009.
Wow.
And it has Jensen Ackles, Jamie King, Todd Farmer, Betsy Rue, bunch of other people. Oh, Tom Atkins. Yeah, I definitely need to rewatch that because I didn't recall that.
I've watched the original way more than the new one. Well, I'm sorry, the 2009, the remake. But yeah, maybe I'll do like a little marathon of both after Ash Wednesday.
There we go.
That's the story of my life. Doesn't make any sense.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Oh my God.
Um,
But yeah, so besides all the Valentine stuff, I think we should dig into a little bit of relationship stuff and kind of like break down each category, if you want to call it that, on how we
yeah,
feel in each situation. Well, I think we should get the couple crap out of the way. And I say
I
couple
was
crap
actually gonna say that, but
because, for me personally, I love love and I think love is beautiful. Um, but it's weird for me because any person that I've spoken to that could lead into some type of relationship, respectfully, they have fucked it up by thinking that we could just have sex and that'll be that. And I'm like, sex is also a touchy topic for a lot of people. To some people, it's not a big deal. To others, it is. And for me, it really is. In a sense of, I want to make sure that I'm comfortable with that person and I feel safe and I can trust them. Because growing up, like I've had so many of my friends and I kind of almost take offense to this now. They're like, "Oh, like I give you so much credit for still being a virgin. Like I just, I did it and it's really nothing special. Like I regret it too and I still wish I was." And I'm like, "Is that supposed to make me feel better?" Like I don't understand that kind of talk um in that kind of sense. And I don't know. Like you made your choice and like you're living your life and there's nothing wrong with that. If you regret it, that stuff happens. We all make choices and there are times where we regret those choices. But I don't understand why it's like phrased like that because I haven't had sex yet. So like yeah, it's a very weird thing for me when I hear that kind of stuff.
love, relationships, sex, it's all. My cat Love is losing her mind at the moment. I'm gonna let her out because this is a very important conversation. Oh, I'm shaking the computer. Hold on one second. Yes, it's a very touchy topic for me, and the way that I can kind of relate to that is, and it's such a weird thing for people to talk about, and people either be like, "Wow, that's so amazing, you're a virgin," or it's, "Wow, that's so weird." Like, there's never
Yeah.
like a it's and it's it's sex has become such a touchy topic for me. And oof, I don't even know where to start with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I think another thing too is how do I want to phrase this? The way I say certain things when it pertains to sex, people automatically say, like, oh, you're a prude or oh, you're being judgmental. And it's like, no, babe, that is so not what I'm trying to say. If somebody wants to go out and go to a club and they want to make out with people and then hook up with five people in that same night, by all means, live your life. That is how you want to live. If you're happy with what you're doing, I'm not going to stop you, nor am I going to tell you that you're wrong. Like, you're doing what you want to do. And it's also your body. So, in no way is that my intention. When I say specific things, it pertains to just me and how I feel when it pertains to my choices and my body. And so that's where I think a
Which is
lot of people,
absolutely okay.
right. And, but like at the same rate, that's where I think people don't understand that. And that's where they then jump to, you're being judgmental and you're just a prude. And I'm like, no, that's not the case. I just, for me, I mentally, emotionally, and physically cannot do something like that. It scares the shit out of me. The thought of being like completely nude in front of somebody, it scares me because I already have my own body insecurities. So, what makes you think I'm just going to be able to go and have sex with somebody that I don't know? Like, I give credit to people that are able to do that and that are confident enough to do something like that. I just could never. I just can't see myself doing that, which is why it's so important for me to, when it comes to that point, to be doing that with somebody that I trust and I feel safe around. Because if I don't, it's not going to be an experience that I'm going to be okay with. And I think it's
Hmm.
really important to be okay with that experience. Sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 I cut you off. That's why I actually think it's really important for us to talk about this because I don't think it's something that people talk about. And our society now is very hookup culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of people don't want that. Um, for me, it's always been weird because I was always like, I want to wait until I'm married to have sex. And because I was raised Catholic, then everybody's like, oh, it's because you're Catholic. And they would make assumptions about me religiously and stuff like that. And the more I thought about it, I think my mindset behind it is that for me, as I say, it's such an intimate, personal thing that I wouldn't just want to share with anybody. Like, I would have to fully trust that person, fully know that they're going to make sure I'm okay, that I'm, like, and that's really important in general. But, and it's hard for me to find, I think, with like that type of trust with somebody anyway,
Mm-hmm.
to just be like, find someone and be like, okay, let's do this. Like, I don't know, I don't think that person will protect me and make sure I'm okay. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just a very, and I think I have trouble explaining this too because, again, like, I never want to come off as judgmental. I just don't understand, it, but, um, yeah, I don't, but I've had some people say some like very harsh things to me about it and being a virgin, and
Yeah.
it's and I feel I don't want to say offense, but I feel bad for other people who have that happen to them. Like, you shouldn't be shamed for wanting to feel safe. You shouldn't be shamed for wanting to feel protected.
Yeah.
Whether you wait or not, I mean, that's your choice and, um, but I think for like you and me, that will be difficult to find someone who, because this, I mean, we're in a very like, it's a very hookup culture right now.
Yeah. Well, and another thing too is I actually, funny enough, had this. I can't understand why my computer consistently keeps shaking. Funny enough, when I was home last in December for the holidays and working a con and everything, um, sorry, had like a moment in my throat with my acid reflux. Okay. Um, we love it. Um, and uh I went to get coffee with my mom and her friend, and I will not say her name because I don't, you know if she'll be okay with that. But I was talking to my mom's friend and her about that. Like we were just talking about a bunch of different shit, and it came up. And she told me that she is friends with this producer who worked in the industry a lot, was really heavy on like determined on her career, focused on her career. She never met anybody, but she wanted to have kids. And so, whoa, that was nasty. Sorry if anybody heard that. My throat, because of my acid reflux, just does whatever it wants. That was nasty. I'm sorry. Anywho,
Feels
she ended up, I think if I remember correctly, she ended up just doing IVF, and she has a kid now, and she's a single mom, and she's done it on her own. She's in her 40s. And I I think a lot of people also need to understand, respectfully, you don't need a man. You really don't. You don't need a man, you don't need a woman, you don't need a person in your life to have a family and to be happy. And of course, like we all want that. We all want to find somebody that we fall in love with and get married and spend the rest of our lives with. Um, but that's not always the case, and that's okay too. Because I know one day I'd like to have a kid, maybe two. I can definitely not handle more than two. Um, I just know I couldn't. Um, but I would love to have a kid one day, and I would love to have that experience with another person. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and that's okay. But it's a weird thing that we are in this kind of like hookup culture. I never really understood hookup culture. And I think there's other things that happened to me in my life that have also given me a reason to have really hard time to trust somebody to do something that intimate.
For
Um
sure.
and you know, ugh, the thought of those certain things like makes me want to throw up when I think about it, because it's things that people shouldn't go through. But some people just don't know boundaries and they don't understand the word no. And I will never understand why that's the case. And it again makes me sick. Um, but at the end of the day, I know there are people out there that understand those things and aren't like that either. But where the fuck are you? Respectfully, where are you at? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't think any of us will ever get it. Everybody's just kind of adapted into this hookup culture and roll with it. And it's like, that's not how we have to live and how we have to be. Cause like, I can't tell you again how many times I've heard, oh, it's sex is just sex. Sex doesn't blah, blah, blah. Sex. And I'm like, then why are people still getting butthurt about hookup culture if sex is just sex? Like that's where I get confused then too, because I'm like, to me sex means something, to others it doesn't. But then to those that it doesn't mean something to, I end up still hearing, oh well, and I'm like, but you don't
Yeah.
care, but now you care. Like I'm trying to figure that out. um without sounding judgmental, because again, my last thing ever is to sound that way. I don't,
Yeah,
that's
so
not my intention.
yeah, because it's interesting because I have friends who have definitely, had sex before marriage, had sex with someone who they're not married to currently, some stuff like that. And it's weird because I never felt this judgment towards them. It was just more of like I want to ask a million questions. Like, because it's it's so and I think I feel like I sound so weird. I think like sex is great and I mean I wouldn't know personally, but I mean the idea the idea of it because I think it's something, that bonding moment with your partner, the showing of love, the showing of affection, like all those things, that showing of protection, that showing of care. So I think like the idea is so beautiful, and especially if it can be with the right person.
Right.
Um, Something I struggle with, which I've noticed a lot of people don't, and they get a little weird that I get offended by this, and you'll have to let me know if you feel the same. I kind of get this degrading feeling if someone's like, "Oh, I just want to sleep with you." And I'm like,
Oh, girl.
"So you don't like me for me?"
Oh, girl.
Like it's just a very like I don't know. It's like a weird feeling where I feel like you're making me feel less than. And I don't want to, and I don't like to give people that power, but it is something where it's like, "Oh, so that's all you think of me," type thing. Like that's all I'm good enough for.
I can't tell you how many different conversations I have had at this point that were just like that. And I've had a few though. I will say I've had a few like they will ask me like, "Oh, like what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm looking for more of a relationship because that's just me. Like I'm very career driven and like I just want to find somebody that like we can support each other and you know, we're together. That's kind of how I roll." And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm just looking to hook up and blah, blah." And I'm like, "Okay, well, that's not me. I'm sorry." Like, I don't, and then for some reason, I feel the need to say, "I don't want to waste your time." And it's like, it's not my problem. That's their choice. And this is how I feel. Um, but some are very respectful about it. And they're like, "Okay, yeah, like I totally understand." And I'm like, thank you for respecting that and like not pushing it. And I've had a few that have pushed it. Um, and I've had my fair words. Uh, with all due respect. um, but I will never understand. I call a lot of men boys at this point because a lot of them are, even in their 40s, they're still fucking babies. Respectfully, actually, no, disrespectfully, you act like you're 12. Um, ugh, I digress. Um, they just don't compute up here. And then it makes me wonder, like, does mommy know how you talk to women? Because if she does, that's a problem. But if she doesn't, oh, I'm sure she would love to fucking light your ass up for that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I know guys where the same thing has happened where girls have, it's definitely I think because we're girls, we look at it more. We've had more experiences, at least you and I with like guys,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's such a complicated subject. It
It is.
really is because it's so where if you say one thing, people think that you're judging them and I don't I don't know, but I guess a very deep question. Do you believe in true love?
I do. I
You do?
do. I feel like there's somebody out there for everybody, but that doesn't mean you'll find that person, if that makes sense. I feel like there's one specific person out there for me, and I have no idea who they are, and I have no idea if I'll even meet them. But that's what I mean. Like, there's so many different relationships when it pertains to couples too, because they always say like, oh, there's your first love, and then you have your second that like will break your heart tremendously, and then the third or the fourth is like the love of your life. And I'm like,
That
all
breaks
the
my
boys I've
heart.
talked to, baby, have striked the fuck out for multiple reasons. Multiple reasons. Um, and mm, mm,
I
bleh,
I
that's all I gotta
definitely
say.
I definitely believe in true love. Um, and talking romantic wise, this is, I definitely do. Um, and I would love to find that with someone one day because to me,
Mhm.
true love is you like just are willing to accept everything about that person, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything, and you're willing to just I don't know how to explain it, but like because I've never been in that situation where I think the feeling was mutual, but to be able to feel like, okay, I'm willing to make anything work with you, and that is like such a powerful thing. And I hope and for me, I'm very one of those people where I'm like, it's in God's hands. If I find someone and I
Yeah.
find my true love, that's wonderful. If I never get married and I live the single life, I'm going to live that as well as I can. But I think that true love is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And not to get all weird and emotional, I'm trying very hard. I'm making sure this is a very sensitive topic for me.
Oh, girl,
Um,
I get it. I almost cried at one point too, but I was like,
I
nope, we're not
know.
doing that here today.
Nope, you and I both. Girl, we have been through some things.
Yeah.
And but I think if true love is what people are looking for, whoever's watching this, if you're watching this, don't give up. There's ways, it's love is gonna hurt sometimes and it's gonna suck sometimes, but love is such a beautiful, powerful thing and romantically is beautiful, but there are so many other ways that, you can show love as well. That's my little testimony.
No, girl, preach, preach, preach. I get what you're saying 100%.
I think we're both, yeah, this is a sensitive topic for both of us.
Yeah.
I think we both know that we can't say certain things without like crying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
which is so interesting because I've cried to you before, you've cried to me, but I'm not a crier like in any other circumstance really, but the topic of like love and sex and like all that stuff like I'm very emotional about it and
I would say, like, I don't know, like, I'm an empath. So, like, a lot of times, like, if somebody else is like hurting or angry and it's something that happened to me as well, I feel it instantly, or like, I can sense somebody's emotions from across the room a lot of times. Um, and I wouldn't say I'm a huge crier, but you have to get me to a specific point for me to cry. Like, I have to be like at my wits' end, pissed off, hands in the air, because the last couple of weeks, like I've had a couple of times where I did cry on for certain things, and it had nothing to do with like relationship stuff. Well, to a capacity. Um, and but a lot of it had to do with like my personal life and what I have going on, and it's because I have anxiety. And so then I stress and I worry, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And so I finally just break down because I'm like, I'm literally doing, oh my gosh, okay, no, we're not gonna cry. I'm literally doing everything in my power to do everything the right way, the best way possible, so I can continue doing what I love. And then I just like finally burst into tears because like I'm literally staring at a wall and I can't move right now, and it's hard. So I get what you're
Yeah.
saying though when it pertains to crying.
Yeah, I hate crying. I will try to do everything in my power to avoid it, but there are just some topics that if I talk about, the tears flow. The tears
100%.
flow.
100%.
Is have you ever been in love too deep of a question?
Oh no, it's not. I would say no because like I don't even count the so-called relationships I've ever been in when I was younger because a lot of times how I look at it is like if you and the person alone can drive to go on a date, okay, like I would consider that more of a relationship than like, oh, mom and dad are taking me and my boyfriend on a date. Like,
I never
dude,
experienced that.
okay, I need to talk about this story because I know everybody will fucking cackle because anytime I've thought about it, I die. I just die. So I was dating this kid when I was in sixth grade. And we would talk on the phone like every night before we went to sleep. Okay. And there was this one time, I don't think I'll ever forget this because I was like, gosh, oh my gosh.
You're scaring me with this story.
He starts singing Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen, like full fucking song, singing to me. I mute myself and I go to my parents. I'm like, guys, help me. And they hear him literally singing the whole song. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, I can't do this shit. I can't fucking do it. It was so, oh my gosh. But no, like literally straight up sang the whole song to me on the phone. And I now can never listen to that song again. Ever.
But so what was the aftermath of that? How do you like come how do you what happens after that happens? That's never happened to me and I hope it never does. But if it
Uh,
does, how what is the proper way to react?
um, I for me, I just was like, wow. I was so cringed out by it. I did it, and like a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's like so cute." I'm like, "No, like
No.
it was
Mm-mm.
not for
No.
me." And I was like, how old were we when we were in like
Call
sixth
me
grade?
maybe. No. No.
Like the thought of that song makes me want to just shrivel. Now, um, I mean, I just no, just no. I would have. I didn't know what to say or do. Honestly, that's why I was just like, wow,
You know
thanks,
what? Thanks. You know what?
thanks.
I can honestly say I think I would cry. I wouldn't know what to do and I would cry.
I was crying, laughing as I had myself on mute, and my
Oh,
parents were like, oh my gosh, they were like laughing because my mom like thought it was cute And my dad was just straight up laughing. And I'm
Course
like,
moms would.
of course moms think it would be cute. I
Of
actually really should
course.
talk to them about it now and see if they remember that like happening, to see how they really feel now. Because like, listen, we were young and we were in 6th grade, like whatever. So I feel like that's a different circumstance. Now, if that happened now, I would be like, ding, I'd end that fucking call and be like, are you good? Like, why are you singing that to me? Like, what is happening? And
You
then
didn't
there's
fall in
been,
love with him when he did that?
oh, hell no, I was not. I liked him, but like, I think at that age, we didn't understand love, you know? So I really wouldn't say that I was in
Yeah.
love with him. I liked him because then there was another relationship that I had when I was in like late middle school into high school. And he would consistently texting me on the hour, every hour. Hey, 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 why are you so clingy? Why do I need to text you all the time? Like that also turned me off. Like, why are you texting me on the hour every hour? Like, I don't need to
People,
text you
yeah.
like constantly. Like, bro, I will literally see you in school tomorrow. Like, take a breath. Take a breath. Breathe fresh air. Hold on a minute. Like, I
I'm
can't
a
do that
bad
kind of stuff.
texter.
I
I'm a I'm a bad texter, so that would really give me anxiety.
maybe that started my anxiety and I didn't realize it. But like, no, seriously, like I can't do like clingy. I that's one thing I can't do. Like, it's not that I don't want to talk to you. It's just I don't want to have to feel like I constantly have to talk to you. I
I
don't know, it just feels like it's like an obligation instead of like a, I don't know, does that
Yeah,
make
I think
sense? I
that's
don't know.
no, I think that's what it is. It's like you don't want to feel like you have to talk to this person all the time, but it's like you want to talk. It's yeah, it's strange because it's like you want to talk to this person. I think there needs to be a good balance, and for me that's hard in general, just texting in general. Or but me, I'll like I won't text and then I'll be like, oh my gosh, I have this on my mind. And I do this to you. I'll be like, I just have all this on my mind, and I'll write you like this paragraph that's super duper long. And I don't do, and I do that to everybody because I just am the worst texter ever.
Um, and then there's one more story I had to bring up because this one was pretty recent, like within like the last, wait, when was this? Let me try to find the date. Okay, this was like, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months ago. There was this guy that I started talking to.
Oh,
And yeah, we're not talking anymore. And you'll hear why.
oh.
I'm not going to say his name, but technically I'm exposing him because these are the kinds of fucking conversations that men try to have with women now. And it's so not cute. It's not cute. It's not a flex. So like get that straight. Okay? Um so he just wanted to have sex. And I was like, not for me, sorry. And I know I previously explained this to him literally the moment we started talking. And the reason why I do that is so I'm crystal clear with how I am and who I'm going to be. If we're going to talk or see each other, I'm not just going to hop into bed with you. I'm not,
Mhm.
respectfully not doing it. Um so I was just basically saying, like, communication means everything to me. And, it's important to me that these kinds of discussions are had so we know where we both are. And if it's just not going to be a thing. Um, and he replied, like, communication is everything, makes or breaks a lot of stuff. And then I told him, like, how I've heard a lot of mixed things as well from like friends when it pertains to sex and just like how I feel about sex. And he was like,
Hmm.
and they definitely didn't enjoy their time, I guess, because I've never heard anything but good. Ew. So you're not only being an asshole and invalidating, if that's the right word, yeah, invalidating my friends' feelings on their experiences, but you think you're hot shit in bed. Oh, so now on top of that, we got a nasty ego. Bye. I
You
said,
didn't fall in love with him after that?
oh, you're so funny. That's not even funny. And
You're
I
so
was just
funny.
like,
That's not even funny.
it's not even funny. And I was like, ha 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 ha. But yeah, so you don't need to wait. So yeah, whoa, hold on.
I don't know. He sounds very dreamy.
Yeah, no, I was like, ha 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 ha. But yeah, so you don't need to say now, meaning like if you want to take time to figure out your shit, do that.
Mhm.
And I said, but if it's best to just be friends, that's cool. If it's better to just cut this off, that's also fine. He said, whatever you want to do. So now you really just don't care. You just really want me to fuck you. And that's not happening. Sorry, babe. It's not happening. And I said, well, you already know what I'm looking for. So that's why I'm asking what you want. Either you see something worth pursuing or you don't. I'm not saying a relationship right now. You do what you want to do. But again, I don't want to continue pursuing something if you don't see things going anywhere in the near future. We'd both be wasting our time. And I feel like that's just going to bother the both of us for different reasons. It's not that complex, guys. It's not. And I feel like a lot of times they try to make it complex. It's like you either want to pursue something or you don't. It's a simple yes or no.
Mhm.
And he said, I agree. And it would definitely bother us and me for sure for reasons. So it's going to bother you that you can't get in my pants. Wow, bro. You have a lot of
Uh,
fucking life lessons to go through if that's what's going to
that's a
bother you.
lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
And then I said, okay, then it's settled. Bye. Bye. But there was this one message that I really,
Feel like I know
really
what the
needed to
message
read.
is. I feel like you told me before.
There's this one message. I'm trying to find it, but he basically said to me, like, yeah, like once you have sex, like that's all you're gonna want. You'll never get enough of it. And I was like, oh,
With him or just in general?
I, I don't know. It's just the fact that he felt the need to message me that.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's very odd.
But this is what I mean. Like this is the epitome, if that's the right word, of how guys message women. And I don't get it. Like, I get it. You have your needs. Everybody wants to have their little moment of pleasure. I understand that. But that is not cute. It's not a turn on. It's not attractive. And that's where I get so frustrated with anybody because it's like there are more to things in life and to an individual than their body and having sex with them. So that's where I get a little heated. And again, you know what? No, I'm not going to keep going down the road of I'm not trying to sound judgmental. I know I'm not. So we're going to leave it at that at this point. But it's just the fact of I don't understand why men think that's cute because it's not. It's disgusting. It makes me want to throw the hell up.
Well, I think it's a little different too if you're talking to someone for a while,
Mm-hmm.
whereas this person, like you guys, were just even trying to figure out what the heck was going on.
Mhm.
And so that's a bit much.
Mhm.
Um, so, but yeah, I'm sorry that I don't like that he made you feel that way. And
I appreciate that, but you have nothing to apologize for. If anything, that thing deserves, I deserve an apology
that thing.
from that thing. Yeah. And I said thing on purpose because if you honestly feel the need or think that it is okay to say some nasty ass shit like that to a woman, baby, go to therapy because you got problems, respectfully. Like you just don't have you don't have respect for women. That's how I look at it. That is my opinion. That's how I feel when somebody says that kind of shit to me.
Well, that's the whole point. If you feel that you were disrespected by that, I mean, some people might love that, but other people don't. And you clearly told him that you were looking for, a relationship, and he was being disrespectful. That's
Mm-hmm.
all to it.
Yeah. I also had girl, there's so many different friggin' stories that I could tell. I just don't want to keep like going down the same path at the same time.
How do you feel about, could you ever do a long distance relationship?
Yes. I think I
Yeah.
could. I mean, I would miss the person for sure, but I personally think I'm capable of it. I think a huge thing though too when it comes to long distance relationships is you have to be able to trust. And that goes for both, obviously. And
Mhm.
if there's any reason that you lose that trust or are given that reason, or shown that reason, that's where I think long distance can be a problem. I think that it is very much capable of happening. That really didn't make sense grammatically, but I'm sure you get my point. Um, for anybody, but I think that's where again communication is such a huge thing and it's so
Yeah.
important in a relationship, especially when it comes to a long distance relationship. 100%.
Yeah, I think it's something that I could definitely do. Um, but it would be that like I would think like there would have to be like little virtual dates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like cutesy. I'm such a hopeless romantic. I think of everything, which is probably not that great. Um, but
No, girl,
um
I get that. I feel that. I get what you're saying.
yeah, and I think actually there's a point there was a reason I brought this up, but I can't remember why. Um, but I see people, it's weird because sometimes I see like long distance. Oh, that was my point. I see like a lot of long distance relationships thrive actually, which is very like I don't know the word, but like it's a cool thing to see. And I think it's like an important thing, like, hey, if you don't find love like right where you are, there's a whole world.
Mhm.
So granted, I don't know if I'd want to move out of the country, but if they wanted to come here, eh,
Period.
period. Everybody, that's
I can't
okay.
wait for my
Everybody can
parents to
have,
watch this. Oh my god.
I'm just not gonna say anything. Um,
They're gonna watch this
um,
and be like,
I
what the fuck?
I think that's the whole point about love too, as long as everything is legal, consensual, everything is, everybody, and that's what makes I feel like I get so deep here. That's what makes the world so beautiful is everybody is so
Yeah.
different. And so, like, and you learn new things about people. And like, I cannot imagine if my partner or anybody in this world really was the exact copy of me. That would be a nightmare.
That's very valid.
Just be a ball of anxiety and stress.
Oh my gosh. I listen, there's a lot of things I love about me, and there's a lot of things that I want to change for me. But like, I've always even said, and like we can I would say even dig into family stuff now because, you know, this is going to bring up a family kind of thing. Um but I always said to my parents, I'm like, what if you had another one of me? I would know that like that you would have to tear us apart. Like I could never imagine fighting myself. But like I would understand it at this capacity at this point in my life. I
I'd
fight
fight
myself every
myself.
day in my head. So like duplicate me and it would be a shit show.
I'd fight myself. I mean, look at the way I did my makeup today. If I saw myself looking like that, I would be,
Girl, you look great.
girl,
Like
thank you.
you're welcome.
You look great as well.
I have a pimple on
Really?
my forehead. Ew.
Ew.
And here,
Um,
and there,
and here and here and here
and
and here.
everywhere. That's called stress breakouts. Yippee.
Yippee.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, I mean, I'm an only child. You're an only child. Um,
Oh, that's a good point. Would you like to, if you ever did get married, would you like to marry someone in a big family or a small family?
well, see, I have a big family on my mom and my dad's side. So, like, for example, like on my dad's side, he has three other brothers. One passed away when I was like 5. Um, and so it's my uncle Rory, my uncle Richie, my uncle Ronnie, and then my dad. And then my uncle Rory had my cousins Madison and RJ. And then my uncle Ronnie had Lindsay and Brandon. And my uncle Richie had Mark. And then my parents had me. So like me and Mark always vibed a lot because we were the only child. Like him and I have a lot of
Mhm.
the same interests. Him and I, can just talk about shit. And then on the other hand, yeah, not always the same case, which I'm ready to openly talk about if anybody wants to know. I have no shame in that anymore. And if anybody got a problem with it, that's a you problem, respectfully. Not to talk
I
like shit, but I'm just being honest and open about my life and my experiences.
which is very hard to do, being open and honest about things sometimes.
For sure.
Um, I have not, I don't want to say honest because I think we're both honest about things, but open. I struggle with being open about things.
Yeah.
And because I feel like sometimes when I am like open, like I worry that it like freaks people out. But I try to be
Yeah.
open because I feel like being open about things like helps other people. Like other people being open about things has helped me get through things and, different things like that. So I always am like, oh, maybe if I tell this story about something that happened, it'll help someone in some case, but it is
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird because some people are like, why are you being so open about that? And but I like people who are open. I enjoy it. Not that railroaded, but
No, no, no,
I
you're
have a very
good.
s- I have a very small family, and I enjoy that. And actually, that's a big concern of mine. I'm like, what if I get married someday and I am in a big family? Like that would be a nightmare. I wouldn't know what to do. I'd have like the most social anxiety.
Well, and I will say this part I will leave out, but I will tell you something about somebody in my family that actually, married into my dad's side, and she came from a small family. So it was a huge change for her. Um and we can talk about that. Cuz like I said, not to cut you off, but like when you said, we're both pretty honest. I have no reason to ever lie. I'm just me. If I fuck up, I admit it and I move on and I learn from it. Um, as far as being open, like I said at the beginning of the episode, there are times where it takes me time to be really open with people. And I feel like it's easy for me to talk about certain things on the podcast because I'm talking with you and then we just have people watching.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
when it pertains to my family, for the longest time, and this goes for both sides of my family, I will forever and always love everybody in my family on my mom's side and my dad's side. But, but what I really want to emphasize to people, and not to sound disrespectful in any way to anybody in my family. So I'm going to make that real clear right now, because I feel like the moment I bring up certain things or we get into a little more depth when it comes to the family relationships, some people might have something to say to me. And again, that's a you problem. I feel a type of way. A you problem, though, because I have every right to talk about it at any capacity that I want to. Again, it's never to come off as disrespectful. It's my life experience. But again, I lost my whole fucking point. God damn it. I think my main point was everybody should feel like they can be open and honest about their life experiences and how people made them feel. I will always, always, always try my best to make sure I'm doing it in a respectful manner. But if you specifically, if you think I'm talking about you, or I do say your name and you don't like it, I think that's a you problem. And you need to digest and deal with that yourself. Don't put that on me because I felt comfortable to speak upon it, or speak about it, I should say. I think speaking upon is the same thing. I digress. I say I digress way too much.
I digress.
I digress. But I've had many disagreements with a lot of my family on a lot of different levels about a lot of different things. I've been hurt by a lot of family members. Nobody's going to take that away from me. So it is what it is. And I'll say what I want. I'm getting text messages from a certain person. We'll talk about that after the podcast.
Does it involve me?
Probably not. But you know the person. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Let's get back on track because I can't. Oh, but yeah, no. We're in 2024 now. And I have spent my entire life catering to other people and people pleasing and overthinking that I'm doing too much or texting somebody too much. And we'll get into that with business stuff, that part that I just finished off with. I can't keep doing that to myself anymore. And I don't want other people to feel like they're wrong for feeling a certain way, for doing something a certain way. That doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It could be wrong. It could be right. Everybody thinks differently. Everyone's like, oh, you know right from wrong. What is right from wrong anymore? Because honestly, half the time there's a big section of people that think you did something and it's wrong. And then other people are like, no, you did nothing wrong. Then what the fuck is like, what is right and wrong then? Make it make sense. That's where I come from too, in my brain, my crazy brain.
Well, I think it's important to find a relationship with people, whether, romantic, family, friends, whatever, where you're able to be open with. And then, but, it's tough when you open up to someone about something and then something goes wrong, or they judge you for it, or something like that. That's tough. That's hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Um, so you said you grew up in a small family.
Hmm.
Do you want to, because like I said, I have a big family. So yes, it's just me and my parents when you think about immediate, like very immediate.
Hmm.
But like branching out, like my mom has three brothers, but one passed away at a very, very young age. So it's just like my Uncle Mike and my Uncle Dean. And then my Uncle Dean had two kids, but my Uncle Mike didn't have any kids. And I don't know if he still plans on doing that or not. But then, like I said, my dad has three brothers and they have 1 to 2 kids. And then got a bunch of other older cousins, like my mom's first cousins that are my second cousins that are like married and have kids, or they're getting married and planning to have kids, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I have like more like extended family members, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more of like, and it's not that I have a problem with them or anything like that. I just don't see them very often. So I mainly see the same, like five family members. And it was just kind of like, it kind of sucks because in a way, like sometimes I'll get together with, some of my family members who I might see like once a year or something like that, and we have like such a good time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like so great to see them, but then you don't, and it's just like it's not even weird. I don't know the word for it, but it's just kind of like it becomes like a thing where it's just like, okay, this relationship is a once a year thing, you know. It's
I've had so many family members say like recently, like we've started to have like these family reunions. Um, and then I've just heard so many family members say like, oh, like we never really see each other unless someone's getting married or someone died at a funeral. And I think that happens a lot more than people think. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Um, we just all individually have a life to live and need to make money and put food on the table. So it's not like we can always just drop whatever we're doing and get a huge get together, because also some of my family is spread out.
yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of them do live back in Pennsylvania, of course, but like at the end of the day, we're all pretty spread out. On top of that, there's other family members that are like, I'm not fucking coming to that because I don't want to see so and so.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like it happens where you just can't be around certain people, and you have to not only like dissect that yourself, but also there's two ways to look at it. It's like, okay, you're doing that for your own sanity, your own mental health and whatnot. I respect that. um but then there's another side where it's like, well, there are people that do want to see you, but you can't force people to come to places that they feel they won't be comfortable because other people made them feel that way. But then I don't know. This is where it can get tricky, because then you can't tell if that person's victim blaming, like having that whole victim mentality, or if they're being like for real and these certain family members made them feel some type of way. Majority of the time, it's there are family members that made them feel some type of way. And it is what it is. Like, I, over Christmas, whoa, whoa. And I can
Yeah.
dissect that heavily.
Yeah, I remember you telling me a little bit about that, and I barely saw really any family this Christmas except for, yeah, my immediate,
Yeah.
and so I think, yeah, our very different experiences in that sense.
Oh, yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, it's also though it's sad because I don't want to feel this way or feel like I have to, you know, not separate and cut off completely. Because again, even if that were to become the case and I completely cut off certain family members, my love for them would never leave. I will always, always, always love them. But that
Mhm.
doesn't mean I have to tolerate the behavior and the way they choose to move and treat me. I have gone to the ends of the earth for a lot of my family. Dog sitting, babysitting, picking people up, going to people's things. I didn't get that all the time. I got oh, it's your birthday? On my birthday? You just forgot my birthday?
Birthday gift on my birthday.
And in that moment, something like that happening, I was pissed. I was hurt. But then I thought about it more and more and more. And I'm like, whatever. Okay. You kind of, made me realize you don't care. But okay, that's fine. I have to finish dissecting that and letting it go. But that doesn't mean I'll never
That's,
not love that person any less. Still love you, but I got issues with you.
I think this year has been very interesting for me about like with letting things go. Um, and it is something that is totally on everybody's time. And it's, I was telling someone that bothered me, and they were like, just let it go. And I was like, I wish I could just let it go. But there's things that in your life that take time to process. People take years to process things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's and I'm always like, geez, did I ever say that to somebody in the past? Like, just let it go. And I'm very careful if I say that because it's I'm really trying now to put myself in people's shoes and situations and
Mm-hmm.
understand. Like with your situation that you're talking about, I can't understand that because I like it didn't happen to me
Mm-hmm.
like it did you. But I am trying to be like where it can be like, okay, how would I feel about this? How would I handle this? How do I not that I would be like, Bryn, this is how I think you should handle this, but like,
Right.
you know, and everybody has a process of healing and forgiving. And I mean, there's some ways that people heal that probably aren't the best, but I think that
Yeah.
is kind of one of those things where you have to find your own way with it because not everybody heals and lets go the same.
Exactly. And you know, the one thing you just said, I'm trying to remember how you said, oh, when you were like, oh, like I'm gonna tell you how to handle it. I'm always very particular when I'm always like, do you want my opinion? Because I can give you my opinion, but if you don't want it, I'll just listen. I'll shut up and I will listen. Because I dealt with so many people in my life giving me their opinion when I didn't ask. I just wanted somebody to listen to me
Yes,
and
yeah.
like just let me vent or just let me
Hmm.
talk. And then when I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. So therefore, I want to give that same respect. People just want, oh, let it go. Oh, you got to move on. you got to, it's not worth it. And it's like, well, for me, it might like a certain situation, like somebody forgetting your birthday, especially a family member that is supposed to like be there for you as an uncle, that hurt me. You looked me in my face and said, oh, it's your birthday? Like it's just any other ordinary day.
Yeah.
To me, that
Yeah.
means something. To others, they're like, who gives a shit? And it's like now, I mean, it might not sound like it the way I'm talking about it, but like now I actually don't give a shit. But at that
Hmm.
time, I did because I was like, wow, My own uncle looked me in the face. Oh, it's your birthday? Like it was like a shock. Like the fucking world blew up there for a second.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'm 23 today.
Okay,
Okay.
youngin.
Well, I'm 24 now. I'm going to be 25 this year. And I just, sorry. If anybody ever needs me to like, sorry, gag in a movie, I got it. I know
You
that is
do.
like
You do.
I have a special talent of that. Okay. So if anybody needs me to be in like a rom com, like similar to Bridesmaids, where they like just ate some food and it's like not sitting well and you're like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, I'm there. I got it. I got it.
I hate gagging.
Oh, I do too, but like it just kind of comes at instinct now.
Mm,
Like, no,
tragic.
okay, really quick side question. When have you ever been around somebody that's thrown up?
Oh, that's a rough topic for me.
Okay. Okay. Girl, no, me too. Me too. Because, okay, not going to say the person's name, but a friend of mine was hanging out with me and they drank too much. And we ate food and it just didn't all mix very well. So they started throwing up. The smell, oh, the noise, oh, just everything about it, I can't be in the room. So, like, I literally had to barricade myself in the corner of the room, close my ears, hold my breath, because I was literally like moments away from throwing up with them because there's just something about the smell and the sound of someone throwing up that literally, like, I can't function. I can't do it.
What
It's
about when
bad.
this has gone totally off the rails. Uh
Always does. Like it always does.
can you, if you're watching a movie,
Uh-huh.
do you have the same reaction? Like,
Um,
do you have to look away or
okay, well, like here, I'll give an example. So like Terrifier 2, like the bedroom scene, like
Mhm,
the
mhm.
first time I saw it, I was just like, but I didn't feel like I was gonna throw up. But when I saw her arm, like when Art like snapped her arm and the bone came out, I can't do that. So I only looked away for a moment. But like honestly, it as a whole, I don't think it bothered me. I was just like, holy fuck. What? Oh my gosh. Like it doesn't particularly bother me in movies because I know it's fake. If I see it in real life, oh bitch, I can't do it. Like it's in a movie, it doesn't normally bother me. Sometimes I might have to like turn away for a second. Like I don't
Mhm.
know. Like there the only other one that I can think of is when in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 when they take Scout into the hospital and they like put her under to like do like surgery or whatever they're doing to like fix her up and they pull the one fingernail off. Oh babe, I can't watch that.
Oh.
I can't watch that. That I can't watch. A bone break. Nope. I got to turn my face away because there's, I think it's the
Interesting.
noise. It's not even like seeing it. It's literally like the noise that it ends up making.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but I
It
can't.
brings it to life.
I can't. Oh.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that because I'm very interested in because everybody has such a different like level of gore they can handle
Right.
and level of grossness and
I can handle most of it.
tomfoolery.
I can handle most of it in movies. I think it's just because I know it's not real, but that doesn't mean the sound effect won't get to me. Because, oh, baby, they do. They do. But yeah, we always sidetrack. Like I'm not even I'm personally not gonna apologize for it anymore. Like we just vibe.
Girly conversations. This is what girls talk about.
But yeah, like when it comes to family dynamics, like I have different relationships with all of my family members. They're all different. Um, And I'm never, ever, ever going to say I haven't been at fault. I know I've made my own mistakes, but like to
Haven't we all?
go, right? But to go into a room, and I won't say which side of the family, y'all can figure it out for yourselves. When I walked into a room with my family, I have never in my life felt so awkward, felt so disconnected, and so pushed out in my life. And that's how I felt. There was only my one aunt, my grandmother, and my cousin and his wife that actually made me feel, and obviously like my mom and my dad, and then like my one other uncle and his wife. All my cousins and my one uncle made me feel so disconnected. I was the first one to say, y'all ready to go? I've never been like that in my life, ever, ever. And so that was like, that moment really showed me like how not okay things are. And I've talked with both of my parents. You know what? Screw it. It was my dad's side. Um, I talked to both my parents about this, and um, I've told them like I want to have conversations with certain people, and they both are like, it's not worth it. And I'm like, you're right to a certain extent, but to me, it is worth it because I'm not going to come home every year on Christmas or for Christmas and Christmas Eve to go over there and feel the same way every single year.
It, yeah, there's sometimes where you feel like there have been times where I have felt like I need to have this conversation even though it won't change. And I don't mean with family, different situation.
100%.
Where I'm like, I need to have this conversation even though it could go somewhere, it might not go somewhere, but sometimes you just having to the need to have that um is great, but there have been times where this is getting totally taking another turn. We can also do an episode about our college days, I would say. I think we should do that sometime. Um, but I wanted to have someone or a conversation with someone
Mm-hmm.
who was of authority at the school who did something um not them personally, but they handled a situation very poorly and they refused to talk to me because they oh, this is getting into such a long subject. This person was saying like, "Oh, I feel bad that I said this to Ashley," and I was hearing it through the grapevine and stuff like that. And I was like, "Okay, let's meet. Let's have this conversation in person. You can apologize to me, and I can." And she refused, and I was really upset at first, but I think that just goes to show who she is as a person.
Yeah, she has a lot of growing up to do. That's what I got out of that little tidbit.
Yeah,
I will,
yeah.
by all means, always say I'm not perfect. I'm never perfect. Do I have my moments? Absolutely. So does everybody else in this world. I have confidence enough to say that I am more grown than people in their 40s, in their 50s, even around my age. I can confidently say that. I will never claim to be perfect, but I can confidently say that because it shows in your actions, babe.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
shows how you choose to move and how you choose to handle things. And if you can't grasp that, you're the problem. Respectfully, own up to your shit, learn from it, and move on. It doesn't have to be, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. Well, if you were sorry, then you would again recognize what you did and try to change it. But then we're still looping around the same thing. So, no, you didn't learn from it and you aren't sorry because you continue to do the same shit over and over. Just
Yeah,
saying.
as I get older, I really try to, if I did something to hurt someone or offend someone, I try to, say I'm sorry. And I feel like, and I always worry because sometimes I don't want it to come out like, oh, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. But it's like genuine, like, I am sorry that I made you feel that way. Like,
Well,
I don't,
yeah. Sorry to
but
interrupt you, but what I mean by that is you're addressing it and you're apologizing for it. But when it then comes down to, though, is the actions that proceed after that conversation. If you
right,
still
right,
do
right,
the
right.
same thing over and over after having one conversation, two conversation, then we're on conversation number fucking 10, it's a problem. And that person is not willing to address that problem. And it's like
Yeah.
sometimes we still like there are times though at the same rate that sometimes we don't recognize that we're doing it. But that's where again you have to be self-aware of yourself to say, oh, okay, I did fuck up.
Mhm.
Or,
Yeah.
oh shit, I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Truly working on it.
Hmm.
But if you know you're doing it and all you can say is sorry and then you're still doing it, it just boils down to it shows in your actions and how you choose to move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But again, it does boil down to the actions of that person after you've had that discussion, if that makes any sense. If any, like when y'all are watching this audience, if I'm confusing you, comment and I'll try my best to like further explain a little more. Cause the last thing I want to do is confuse anybody. Like a lot of this episode is not to just for me and Ashley to talk about our things, but to also hopefully help other people that could be going through the same things and giving
Mhm.
them like a oh kind of moment.
Mhm.
I love being able to help people out at some capacity. And again, like I'm trying my best to share my life experiences with my family with all the respect that I can. Um I normally wouldn't do this. Like I'm surprised I'm still doing this on the podcast with myself. And there might be, after we get off, I might have guilt in me, but that's not fair to me because I'm speaking on my personal experience and how I feel. And nobody should be able to take that away from me or Ashley with whatever she speaks about.
Yeah, I think that's something that people feel is guilty for feeling certain ways. And that's another thing I'm really trying to learn for myself and everything is not to feel guilty for the way you're feeling about something, because you're feeling it for a reason. And if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. And
Mm-hmm.
you can't help that.
Period. I always say
Period.
feelings are valid. I stick by that. You feel some type of way for a reason. So don't ever dismiss that. If you feel uncomfortable, someone made you uncomfortable. If you're pissed at somebody for hurting you, they did something fucked up to you. There's
Hmm.
no other way around it. And I personally struggle with because I hate confrontation so much. I
Me
hate
too.
I hate having to sit down and have conversations that should be had only because I then get anxious
Me
and
too.
I'm
Me too.
like, I'm not trying to sound rude. I just like, this is how I feel. And so I beat around the bush. And then the other person has the power because they know they
Hmm.
can walk on me because I have that anxiety and I have that people pleasing in me. And I hate that. And
Yeah.
I've been working on that for so long to like take my power back and say, no, I'm going to do what I want to do and how I want to do it. With all due respect, I'm grown. I'm 24 years old. I know how life works at this point. I don't need anybody to tell me otherwise.
Well, sometimes it's not always clear too when someone is disrespecting you, or even if you're disrespecting someone, sometimes those lines get a little blurred and it
Yeah,
takes a while to figure those things out. So, sometimes you put up with stuff and you're like, I can't believe I put up with that. Or you do something and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. Because I feel like it's gone both ways where, I've done something that has hurt someone and I'm like, don't get it. And then
yeah,
life experience definitely helps. And
100%.
so then, but the the power of just like acknowledging or trying to acknowledge is really powerful for both or, however many parties.
Right,
Um,
right. No, I
but
agree
yeah,
with you.
I don't like confrontation either, and I get anxious because I want everybody to be happy and just in my little hopeless romantic world that I live in. And I'm like,
Girl,
okay, and so I that's the thing is like any relationship that I have with someone, I never intentionally try to hurt someone. And but sometimes you just do
mm-hmm.
without notice, without noticing. And, that's
Yeah,
happened to me with people. Where I've done it and they've done it to me. And it's a learning experience
it is. I think we all, well, I'm going to say some, because honestly, I feel like there are people out there that do intentionally hurt people. Um,
for sure.
so some people, like you and I, our intentions are never to hurt anybody or take away anything from anybody. But you and I both, again, I don't want to speak for you, but I do want to say in a sense of I think you and I both can understand and agree that that's not who we are at the end of the day. And if we ever do something like that to somebody or it comes off like that, we are both willing to take the responsibility for it and apologize and make sure that we are doing something to change that though. We're
Yeah,
clocking
yeah.
that shit and we're making sure that we're moving on and trying to learn from that and grow from that and change from that in a positive manner. Whereas other people just do not understand that concept because they either don't care or they truly don't realize. But it's like, how many conversations can you have with somebody before you're like, I'm fucking done?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that's a tough one too, like in again any type of relationship where you try to, which I've had with friends, I'd say more with friends where you try to like fix everything and then it just gets to a point where you're like there's nothing,
Yeah.
you know, and and I've definitely had that with a lot of friends. Um, family, families have fights about things, but I really try to take my friendships seriously and I
Yeah.
try to, and by no means have I been perfect in it, you know, but that one has always been a really tough one for me is friendships. And maybe it's
Yeah.
because I'm an only child. I don't know, but like that has been one that has been very difficult.
Sorry,
Demon?
my throat made a friggin' nose. A nose? Oh my gosh. A noise again. I'm so sorry. If I ever go
Oh,
like, or
demons.
like, just ignore me and keep talking. I don't want to. I'm sorry if I keep interrupting you with that kind of stuff.
Oh, you're good.
Bodies are weird. But
Real side note, my stomach chit chats all the time.
mood,
All the time.
mood.
It'll be like, wow.
Wow. Yo.
Whatever. I might have talked about this on the podcast. I don't know. But one time, I remember, eighth grade, we were sitting in reading class and it was before lunch. I was really, really hungry and we were all sitting there quietly. Or maybe we were, I don't know. Yeah, no, we were reading because it was quiet. And my stomach just went, wow. And everybody just turned and looked at me and I was like, I'm so sorry you had to hear that. My stomach just is so vocal when it's hungry and it's just
I
or
get
just
you.
anytime. Sometimes I'm sitting there, it's like, wow.
Oh
I'm like,
shit.
okay.
Yeah, no, girl, I get you. My throat does a lot. My stomach does it from time to time, but it's more of like a and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes my stomach goes like this very high pitched noise. And I'm just like,
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
yeah, the throat gurgles. Yeah, they're definitely like a I don't know.
I don't know why I keep yawning all of a sudden. Woof.
Girl, I'm tired.
I'm always tired and I'm sick of it. Sick of it. Lord. Help me. Help me, please. Okay. Um, we started going into friendships though.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, friendships have been really weird for me too over the years. Like really, really weird. Um, I was bullied a lot growing up, like real bad, honestly, like real bad. Um, and I still never lost that kindness, that kind little girl that always included everybody and tried to include everybody. Um, but I think because of the lot of shit I dealt with when I was younger, um, gave me a lot of like trust issues. Um, but then there's times where I feel like I trust too quickly. It's a
I
very
do.
it's a very weird concept for me. It's a
I'd
very
say
weird
I'm
concept
this
for me.
I'd say I'm the same and there's people that I trust very quickly or there's people that I take a really long time to trust with.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
so yeah, it's I know it's like weird because bullying has such an effect on people. Like my school, there were some kids who just like horrendously got bullied. And when I was little, I was so shy and scared of everything that I like couldn't stand up. But once I started to get a little older, I
Mm-hmm.
could stand up for other people or stand up for myself. Probably in a way where I was a little too mean sometimes when I would stand up,
I
But
will I will openly admit that in high school I was a bitch. Like I actually was. But you know what? At the same rate, I truly believed I had a reason to be because I'm the same way, or I grew up the same way, I should say, to where like I was bullied a lot and I didn't do anything to try to stop it or stick up for myself. And then as I got older, if there was like these high school jock bitches, and yeah, they're bitches for what they've done to people, respectfully, I'd turn around and be like, dude, like, shut up. Like, leave them alone. Like, why are you so
Mhm.
rude? Oh, well, you're being a bitch. And I'm like, yeah, I'm being a bitch because you're being a bitch. Leave them alone. Like I will never understand that. And then every fucking time I'd always get thrown, oh, you're fat and ugly. Okay, bitch, you got anything else? Because I've heard that my whole life. Like, do you really think that affects me anymore? But that's the sad part. Nobody should ever have to like get to a point where they're like, oh, same shit, different day. In
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
in that kind of sense. And and then that's why I'm like, you know what? I was justifiably a bitch because I was standing up for people that had no reason to be treated like shit. And I hope that those people that were like that in high school that I grew up with realized that and changed for the best. And if they didn't, it's their life. It's not my business. I will always wish them the best, but it was fucked up the amount of shit that I saw every day in school. And I just got to a point where I was like, I'm not dealing with it anymore. So,
I think some of the worst parts for me was seeing teachers either let it go or go along with it, like teachers and staff. I think that was to me because for me, especially as like a little kid, when you and this is a weird subject because it's not like, teachers aren't your parents. But as a little kid, like you go from being with your parents or parent, and then you're spending the day with this adult figure, and you kind of like, I always, in a sense, formed these bonds, yeah, with my teachers and kind of saw them as like, okay, they're going to protect me in a sense. Not like I felt like, but like they were like, okay, they're the ones who are gonna, make sure that everything's okay. And, as you get older, I mean, you start to care for yourself. But I remember like in kindergarten specifically, like going and thinking of my teacher as like a safe space, I guess to
right.
say. And so whenever I would hear about like other teachers like saying like it was just like, I don't know. It's a weird thing where I like worry if I were to ever have kids, the bullying issues and then making sure the teachers in the schools, and I shouldn't say the teachers, but sometimes you hear about like the faculty, like the staff just not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really sad because no kid should have to go to school being afraid, pretty much.
Agreed. Well, I lost my fucking point. God damn it. Um, yeah, no, I
My
definitely go ahead, girl. You're good. You're good. You're good. Go.
my stomach just went wow.
My throat just went and I'm like, okay.
They
Um,
were talking to each other.
yeah, they really were. Aw. Um, yeah, no, what you said was yeah, honestly. I've had a couple teachers in my lifespan that I just will forever adore because they were great human beings that actually really cared and they wouldn't tolerate any bullshit. And I was like, that's my dude, that's my gal, period. Um, but yeah, what I don't understand is there was a story that I was going to tell and I can't remember, but there was this other story too that I could bring up because I think it's hilarious at this point. There was this one girl that I was friends with from like elementary school on. Like we were friends for years. And she suddenly texted me and started accusing me of talking about her. And I'm like, girl, where are you getting this information? Like, I literally do nothing with my life. This was when I was still recovering from my ACL knee surgery because I tore my ACL. I was literally going to the doctors to like see if I could like stop wearing my brace periodically or whatever. And so on and so forth. The doctor was checking on my knee. And she's blowing up my phone, calling me a bitch, and yada, 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 yada. We were juniors in high school. And I'm like, 17-year-old me. Disgusting. Anywho, uh, we learn and we grow, right? I'm 24 now. Granted, that's
We
really
trying.
not that long. That really not that long ago. Would I act how I acted then? Hell to the no. Um, but yeah, she was 17-year-old Bryn was still learning and growing to who she is now. So, um, but after my appointment, I call her when I get in the car and
Oh,
she
that's
starts,
bold.
well, because I told her, I said, I'm done texting you. I'll call you when I'm down and out of my appointment. I'm not doing this shit.
Well, weren't you gonna see each other at school?
Yeah, because we had gym. Saw her the next day
Oh.
because she kept saying all this shit about how she was gonna beat my ass and yada. And I was like, okay, come do that in gym tomorrow. I'll be waiting. I'm really like, I'm not gonna start the fight. I'm not gonna throw my first hit. You hit me, then we're on. Then it's game on. I will never do that. I will defend myself. I will not start it. So I said, if you want to hit me, I'll see you in gym. Come try it. Have a good night. And then I blocked her. We go into school the next day. I'm sitting with a couple of my friends. I want to say it was my friend Sarah and Carly. I want to say.
Sarah, hey
Uh,
Carly.
um, and not the Sarah you're thinking of. You've never met either one of these girls. But we're sitting there talking. Bitch, I would show up like almost every day in like a pair of sweatpants and a t-shirt. I could give a fuck less. I was like, I'm there to learn. I'm not there to impress anybody. Um, so I'm sitting there in my sweatpants, in my boots, and my t-shirt, and talking to my friends, vibing out. All of a sudden, she's sitting higher up in the bleachers because in we technically didn't have gym class that day because they were setting up for Powerade, which is like a whole wrestling thing, weekend thing. And normally my school district held it. And so they were setting up for that. So we were just sitting in the bleachers that day and just getting, our points for showing up. And all of a sudden I hear, so are you gonna do something or say something to me? So I look over and I'm like, you told me you wanted to beat my ass. I'm not moving. I said, you have something to say, you can come over to me. You can stand up and come to me. I am not moving. My ass is staying right here. I don't care. She's still running her mouth. She's still running her mouth. Sidetrack note. Come to find the fuck out. Listen to this shit. People in my gym class were making bets on me and this girl and who would win if we got into a fight. It really didn't have to be that deep. Like, why are people like this? Who raised you people? Like, where are your parents?
So, oh, okay, go ahead.
No,
Continue.
you're totally fine. You're totally fine. So after a while, I just was like, I was trying really not to engage. Like, I just did not care. She stands up, comes over to me, and again, we're on bleachers. So she stands on the bleacher above me and is looking down on me and is like, are you going to hit me or what? And I'm like, babe, I am not going to hit you and get myself in trouble. I told you last night, if you want to hit me, because you said you wanted to beat my ass, if you want to hit me, try it. I'm not hitting you until you hit me first. I will defend myself, but I will not start something with you. So are you going to do something or are you going to stand there? Because I don't got time for this. I'd rather sit here and talk to my friends. I don't got time for you. Oh, well, what other time do you have for? You're just sitting here. Girl, you sound like a chihuahua. Go sit down. I'm not going to do anything. And so then the teacher, She kept getting closer and closer to me. I was waiting for her to hit me. I was so ready to go. But I kept telling myself, do not do it first. Do not do it first. Do not do it first. Because I'm not going to be the one to get in trouble. Are you kidding? You're going to threaten me and then tell me to hit you? What is this? So then the teacher was finally like, go sit down. And then everybody just started laughing.
Girls.
And then everybody just started laughing. And I was like, there's nothing funny about this. Like, this is completely, like, it's ridiculous. Grow the fuck up. Like, why are y'all placing bets? Like, this is supposed to be a fucking game. Like, I just never understood any of that shit. Then, that next year we had math together. She was nice as hell to me. Sucking my ass. Nice to me. Kissing it. All over. Nice to me. I was like, wow, how the tables have turned.
Yeah, high school friendships are very weird.
Yup.
I had someone who I was friends with, and she had talked about me and said that I had said something to some girl or about something. This
Continue.
person I didn't even know was planning to fight me and to jump me, I guess. I don't know. And luckily, I had a friend who overheard it and was like, hey, I want you to know this person saying this, this, and this about you. And so is wants to fight you. And I was like, I don't even know who that is. Like, I literally had no clue who the person was. And if you look at me, there's no way I'm going to win that fight.
Listen,
Um,
I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I'll be damned if I lose a fight. That
I will
ain't
for sure
happening.
lose a fight.
Oh no, girl. I feel like honestly, I'm being dead ass with you. I feel like if you were truly put in a position, you would take a few hits and then you would turn into somebody I never met before.
Yeah,
I really
we all
think
have a
you would.
little psycho in
I think you
us.
got the power to. I I I'm just saying. I'm not just but for real. I don't think you would honestly, truly. You've been through a lot, but I really, truly don't think you honestly take shit from people. Like, I don't think you do.
Try. Um, Sometimes I do when I shouldn't, and but anyway, with this story, um, I was like, my mom and I had to go to like the principal and talk about it, and it was like this whole thing because I was like, I didn't even know what the person looked like, and the person wanted to fight me, and I was like, if this person comes up to me, I'm not gonna know. She might just start going at me. I had no clue who the person was, and they ended up, I don't know, I guess someone had a talk with them, and everything was fine after that. I never got attacked. So,
Well, that's good. I'm glad you weren't attacked because I would fight them.
yo,
Literally, they'd have to hit me first, might I add. But yeah, don't mess with my girl Ashley. Okay. Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
When I say I would defend you in a fight, and I would. Also, I don't condone fighting, but I would try. I wouldn't win, but I would try for you.
Thank you.
Just know that.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, listen, we were also in a time when both of our stories that we just said, happened. We were still so young, and we still are now. Like, I'm not trying to make it sound like that was 10 years
Yeah.
ago, but like, you know, who I am now, I'm like slowly falling in love with myself in a positive way of like, I'm really, really like getting into a self love kind of era. And I love that.
Said, have you ever been in love? And you said no.
Oh.
But you are in love with yourself.
I'm not fully in love with myself. I'm falling in love with myself. And
Oh, okay. I love that.
so,
Period.
um, because, and again, I'm not perfect, and there's a lot of things that I want to change for myself. Um, whether that's losing weight or how my attitude can be sometimes, or, trying to like reassure myself and calm my anxiety and all that stuff. Um, at the end of the day, though, like nobody's perfect and we're all going to make mistakes. But the person who I was when I was like 17 years old is not the person who I am now. And I'm really, really proud to say that. Um, and I hope one day, like a lot of people, everybody can get to that capacity where they absolutely fall in love with themselves, because the moment you fall in love with yourself, I feel like it's so much easier to love other people. Not that it's hard if you don't love yourself, but there are some obstacles that can hit when you have your own issues that you need to work out, if that makes sense. Um, you know
Yeah,
what I
because it
mean?
can, yeah, you can hurt others by not, how am I trying to word this? But like, it's something when you're not like good with yourself, you end up hurting other people in the process too, sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm also a pretty big believer in like a lot of things happen for a reason. Um, not saying that condones any poor behavior that's been put upon anybody. Um, but a lot of things that happen to us in life, I think, have really big lessons for us that we don't automatically understand right away. Um, but I'm trying my best individually to continue to grow and not fall back into habits, and just very much like learn and love and be kind. And I think it's really important to address those kinds of things with yourself. That's why, like, I want to go back to therapy. I stopped because I can't afford it, but like, I'd love to go back to therapy. I loved it. I loved it when I was in therapy, and I've just consistently heard like a lot of like acquaintances that I have and friends that I've made and have now that are in therapy, and they also really love it. And I think therapy is a really, really positive thing for a lot of people. Not everybody's going to agree or see it that way. Um, but I think working on yourself to do better for not just you. Well, I mean, you mainly want to do it for you, but for other people that actually genuinely care and love you and support you, I think it's very important, and it's something that you should want to do for yourself, though, at the end of the day. Don't let people force you or tell you that you're wrong for whatever reason, and so on and so forth, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But uh yeah, friendships can be complicated in a lot of ways, in a sense of jealousy can be implemented. This person said this gets implemented. And it's like, that even happens when you're in your early 20s, you hit your 30s, you hit your 40s. I've seen it all over the map with
Oh,
people.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's, oh,
so I think, though, there should be a point that everyone should get to, that it's like, we're going to talk, we're going to move on, and we're going to let it go, and we're going to learn, and we're going to grow. Not everybody adapts that very well. I digress.
and sometimes you need a friend or friends that you can vent to and just be there for you.
Yes.
And it's just really important to be able to have that. So, like sometimes I'll talk to like one of my like you or one of my friends, and I'll be like, okay, I know this is dramatic and I know it's not important and I know I'll be okay in a few minutes, but I need to vent about this that I'm really upset about. And sometimes you just need to do it in that time. And then it's just like, so I don't know, sometimes you just need to because it's not always good to bottle things up. I think that's one thing I struggle with is like I I well, have struggled in the past. I think I'm getting a little better at it. I don't know, but sometimes I'll bottle things up and yeah. So it's nice, even like, well, we had said this a little earlier, just having someone who can listen. And I think that's really great with like to have in a friendship, uh, in family and with your romantic partner, if you have one, to have
Hmm.
those people who you can just be like, this is what I'm frustrated about. Even if it's about some other person, sometimes it's like, I love this person, but they did this, this, and this, and this, and I'm just upset about it, and I know I'll be okay, but I just need to tell you about it. And,
Yeah.
it's not so.
Yeah. And I definitely can say that you and I have that in each other, and I love it a lot because I haven't honestly found a lot of people in my life that are like you, and that's in the
Oh,
utmost like
nope.
positive thing. And I always say like to you that you are so incredibly nice and you have such a good heart and deserve so much, and I hope you really get everything you deserve one day and want to do with your life. And you're my people, you're my person, in a not romantic way obviously, but like, I love you, let's get married. I'm kidding, obviously. um but no, 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 like honestly, like you are my person, like I have so much love for you. And I just want and hope that other people can find other people that have a relationship like us, that have the hearts that we have, that are able to listen like we both can to each other about the same repetitive shit. But like,
Hmm.
again,
Yep.
like we've also mentioned before we get into our last part, like section of this whole episode, um, you know, just support each other and love each other. I think that's such a huge thing. And if you have the conversations that you need to have, as I have to do with many, you know, I'm telling you, like, even if it isn't the outcome that you want it to be, I guarantee you will feel so much more fulfilled and like have less pressure on yourself. I've had a couple different conversations recently, um, that have taken a lot of weight off myself in certain aspects. Whereas now I'm just like focusing on other things that need that focus. So, um, no one's
Well,
perfect, but that's life too at the end of the day.
first of all, you're an angel, and I am someone who struggles with telling people how I feel about them. So I am working on that. And when I do tell someone how I feel about them, I immediately am like, oh my gosh, like it's a lot. Like I'm like, why did I say that? Especially if it's like isn't the same way, or like not or like isn't like or if I say something and it's just like, okay, and I'm like,
Okay. Yeah,
like
no,
it's
I
just
get
like
you.
awkward. Yeah, but I'm so grateful that I feel like our relationship as friends, as friends grows each day, and I'm so grateful for that. And it's so weird how, we just met, well, we met at the convention first, but then, actually like really met on the film set and just being able to, I was like, I want to start a podcast, and you were like, I'm down, and then I feel like our friendship has just evolved since then, and we've both like you've seen me cry, I've seen you cry, and
Girl, you've been there through a horrible panic attack of mine.
panic
I
attacks are
laugh
the
about it.
worst.
I laugh about it now, but in that moment, oh, that was rough. And I honestly am glad you were there. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm happy. Yeah, I hope I because I have had issues with panic attacks. Actually, I have reoccurring panic attacks around Valentine's Day. Um,
I'm sorry, babe.
it's it's very so I get very anxious around Valentine's Day. That's why, I like try to make it fun, like I'm in pink and like, everything like that. But I know how scary a panic attack can be. And I hope that for you and for anyone who like has that I can be some sort of support and like, because man, panic attacks are they are that feeling is just I don't even know how to explain it. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for your friendship and the relationship that we've built with one another. And like it's just cool we can be open about things that, it's awesome, dude. And I just want to make all the movies with you. Like
Yeah. We're
I'm
definitely gonna have to talk a little more because I have a not in a bad way. I do have want to have a serious conversation with you about a few things. And it's not like I said in a bad way between you and I, but we'll do that.
I know I was like, oh my gosh, what I do?
Oh no, no,
What
no,
I
no,
do?
no, not you, babe, not you, babe. That's why I said it because I don't want to worry you. I
Yeah.
don't want to worry you.
Fred knows how
Um,
I am. I'm like I'm like, oh no.
Period. Well, and I think so to like hop into our last section real quick because I'm sure everybody's gonna watch this and be like, oh my gosh, this is a 2 hour episode. What's going on? Um, I honestly bef- before we hop into our last topic, yet again, am I sidetracking slightly? Um, I'm very proud of this episode. And I hope everybody really enjoys this episode.
I hope it's something, yeah, that people can relate to and not feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I like specifically not to go back to it, but with the way I feel about love and stuff like and sex, like you are one of the people who I feel like I can have that conversation with and we understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I can't have that conversation with too many people. And it's such a blessing to be able to have that. And,
Yeah.
I hope that, yeah, I think, and I think there's other people too, they just can't have certain conversations or they don't want to, they feel certain ways. And I'm still that way with many things. There's still a lot of things that I just can't talk about without crying. But it's nice, which is why obviously I would not bring them up on camera, but it's nice that I know I have you that I can talk about those things to and cry to, and you're not going to be like, girl, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you because I feel like excuse me, my throat was doing its thing again. Um, well, and yeah, that's why I said to you earlier and on multiple other occasions, like you and I have had multiple conversations about the same topics a couple different times. Um, but we've both very much agreed that it's like a lot of it's still happening in present time. Um, so although some of it's repetitive, we both can understand and respect that we're both dealing with it in our own ways, healing from it in our own ways. And also again, it's like, well, here's more info. It's not like it's just done and over with and everything's been handled. It's still fucking going. For what? I don't know. But I digress. Again, for the millionth time.
Again, I digress.
I don't know why I keep saying that. I just picked it up somewhere.
It's your catchphrase. It's your catchphrase.
No, my catchphrase is I'm fucking weak.
That is true. That is true.
If anybody steals
That
that
is your
phrase, we're
catchphrase.
fighting. We are actually fist fighting. That is all mine. I'm fucking weak is mine.
It
Hands
literally
down.
is. It
Hands
literally
down.
is.
Bryn Damai owns that phrase. If I have to literally copyright that shit for myself or like get documentation, I will do it. That's how serious I am about that phrase. But
I know.
yeah, see, even Ashley knows. So don't play. Don't play.
Don't blame.
Um but business relationships, man, this is where I actually kind of get a lot of anxiety. And it's really not in a bad way, I would say. I think it's because I love what I do so passionately that, like, I'm not trying to blow up somebody's text messages or blow up somebody's phone, but it's like, if you inquire to me about an event or you inquire me about a role or a position on a set or at a con or whatever, I'm going to stay persistent with my messages and be like, hey, just wanted an update. Hey, just want to know what's going on. Whatever you need me to do, like, let me know. If you don't need me this time, cool. Moving on. It's fine.
Can I say something I appreciated so much that you did is whenever you were casting for your film,
Mm-hmm.
like you sent out a message about certain um characters and was like, hey, your audition was great, but we went with somebody else. Something along the lines. Nicer than that, how I said it wasn't as blunt as that. Um, I think that that is such a good communication in the business that people don't have.
Yeah.
I have, and again, I know that it's because I guess people say it's like the typical thing, like they don't let you know. But I think it's such a great quality, and I hope I'm able to do that where you say like, because there have been times I've auditioned for things and it's just like I see it like pop up on Facebook, like, oh, so and so got it. And I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, that
like
just happened to me.
yeah, and
Just
it's
happened.
nice. It's nice to know that someone took the time to watch your audition tape. And I'm not saying that those people didn't watch my audition tape. I believe, they did, you know, but it was so nice to get that where you say, like, hey, you did great, but we're going with this person. And I think, I mean, it's just, I try really with like business and communication to focus on the respect.
Yeah.
And sometimes and I'm trying to learn that better with communicating in the business, and learning how to properly say things. But long story short, I think that was great that you did that, and I appreciate it very, very much.
Well,
I
thank
also had
you.
one time, and I really appreciated this. I auditioned for something, and the director called me and said, hey, you didn't get this part, but I think you would fit this role and I want to offer you this. And I was like, wow, I really respected that the communication, although it's probably like a weird I don't know if I would call someone, but we had a close enough relationship where, that made sense. But
Yeah.
because you never know, someone might bust out crying. But the long story short, I just appreciated that you did that. And I thought that was a really great business communication thing.
Thank you. And, I did that because now, like you also said, that normally does not happen, especially when it comes to those bigger budget kind of films. Um, and I get it in a sense of there's hundreds of auditions that go through for those kinds of movies. So they don't really have the time to type 100, 200 different emails saying, you didn't get it, you didn't get it, you didn't get it. So I can understand. But for me, I think it's something that should be implemented more. Um, Instead of me like just sitting here looking at the fucking wall trying to figure out if I got it or not.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's just my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to say that it's something that needs to be done. It's just something I think that could be implemented. Could be. Um, But again, when you're also getting hundreds of different auditions for one specific role or one specific blah, 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 specific movie, it probably is way too overwhelming and
Mhm.
way too long to just type out the same thing over and over and over. Granted, you could just copy paste. Just saying.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
but you know, I I think that that should be implemented more. Um, out of respect for the talent that did the audition. Do you have notes? What like I like getting notes and feedback. I love it. If there's something that I need to work on or something that I should change, whether that's me working at a con, whether that's me working on set, whether that's me acting, whatever it is, I like getting that feedback so I can continue growing. If I don't get that feedback, then it's going to make me wonder what I need to work on. So I
Yeah.
think it is something that should be offered more. Just a thought, food for thought kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like I when it comes to communicating with booking agents or my like producers, whoever I'm working with or have worked with as a whole, I get so anxious. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't message them again because I don't want to annoy them. I feel like I'm doing it too much or yada, yada, yada. But it's literally just me like making sure, like, hey, I'm just trying to stay on top of things. So I know if you need me somewhere or wherever I need to be, I'm there when I'm supposed to be, kind of thing. So I really truly hope that anybody I've ever, had certain conversations with pertaining to any business or work or whatever don't feel like that, because my only intention is to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to make sure I am ready to go. Do you need me there? Did I book the job? All that kind of things. I like to keep my ducks in a row. I'm very organized. I prefer knowing dates. I prefer knowing pay. I prefer knowing all the information before I say yes to something.
Mhm.
That's just
Mhm.
me, because
Yeah.
I need to know what I'm going to do, where I need to be, and what I'm going to make, just as any other person would want to know or and whatnot. But I do tend to get a little anxious when it comes to that because I don't want to annoy the person, but I'm also like, do you need me or not?
Mhm.
That's all I need to know.
Mhm.
So yeah, I do get
Yeah,
just about
business,
that.
yeah, business relationships are tricky. And
Yeah.
it's also like, and also like I worry about forming relationships with
Mm-hmm.
people in business, because I mean, I was talking with someone about this, like in the indie world, a lot of people kind of already have their people in a sense,
Yep.
and sometimes it's hard to like I don't I'm trying to think of how to properly say this, like, but there's people that I want to work with and maybe they have all their people and it's like, well, how do you form a good relationship or show that you have, good intentions or you want to work hard with this film? And, sometimes I struggle with that. And or like there's been opportunities where someone will be like, oh yeah, I definitely want you to be a part of it, and then you don't hear from them, and then it's like, oh well, what did I do, what did I say, and it's something that, and sometimes there is no reason, sometimes there is,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people just don't think about it, but it is like, yeah, like it's like, do you continue to message this person, do you continue to, it's odd sometimes.
It is. And it stresses me out, respectfully. And that's a me thing. That's not a them thing. I just, again, because I'm so organized and I just want to know what's going on. I mean, there's a part of me that's like, there's nothing wrong with it. But like, why should I have to like feel anxious on blowing somebody's phone up to know an answer? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's where I don't know. It is tricky because again, like I want to continue growing like these connections and relationships and all this stuff with a lot of different people in the industry. Um I just don't want to annoy them either. And there's times where I'm like, maybe I'm messaging too much, but I'm literally just trying to make sure I'm staying like persistent and on top of it and like I'm ready to go, you know? That's where I just,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets a lot. It gets a lot for me in my brain.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's one of those things I feel like I have better, like, not advice, but like more experience with other things. And this is one that, because everybody seems to run business differently.
Very
And
much
it's like
so.
I've had people who are like, well, you didn't text me or email in this amount of time. So that, or it's like, okay, well, when's the proper time to ask the question? When's the proper time to give answers? And
Yeah.
it's very like I feel like I remember when I used to work at Hot Topic, and they would be like, ask 3 times, and then after the third no, just let it go. Not let it go, because we talked about not saying that, but just stop. And so sometimes I try to go by that. Like I'll reach out about something, and maybe if I don't hear after the third time, then, just move on to something else.
Yeah.
But it's not as easy as, you're trying to sell a customer a t-shirt for a deal.
Literally. Literally. Yeah. I'm sure you feel the same with this, but again, I don't want to talk for you, but like I just feel so passionate and love so deeply what I do that I am just truly willing to work my ass off. I just am. And I want to keep growing and learning all the time. And I just wish that a lot of people, respectfully, would see that. I don't know. Like, I don't want to have to beg for things. I don't want to have to beg for a
Sure.
job.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of things that I very well and can confidently say I know what I'm doing. And then there are other things that, that I can continue learning and working on and so on and so forth. But I just wish that there were other people that, not even just for me, but like as a whole, give people a chance. Like,
I I agree. And that's one thing I hope that I'm able to do in filmmaking is give people a chance.
yeah,
And I know that it won't be for everybody, but there's something about someone, and you could be like, even like, I don't know if it'll work out, but I think it will. And maybe you give them a chance and they give the performance, whether it's cast or crew or whatever you're talking about, give the performance of a lifetime.
yeah.
And it's yeah, I agree completely.
And I know and I will say this as well. I know sometimes that could be a huge risk to take.
Sure.
Um, but if somebody is looking you in the face or sending you a text message and is like, "Hey, I'm just following up, trying to keep on top of everything, you know, do you need me to work the event? Do you need me on set still or whatever?" If they are showing the initiative, they are being persistent, if they are clearly knowledgeable, if they are looking you in the face and saying, "I know what I'm capable of and I am capable of doing a lot. And I'm truly just asking you to trust me to let me do what I know I'm good at." I don't see an issue in trying and really giving them a chance, you know? But again, I
Yeah.
know where it can be a risk in certain ways, but yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you do, sometimes you need to find that one person who will give you a chance. Obviously, if it's something safe and you're comfortable, don't
Absolutely.
just because I think many people have been in that conversation where it's like, I want to give you this, but you got to do this, and that, like,
Yeah.
but it just takes that one person to give someone a chance. And, and that's the one thing I'm always so grateful for any opportunity that someone gives me. And I hope that I'm able to do the same for someone someday.
Right. Right there with you, babe. Right there with you.
Period.
What an episode. What an episode. I hope that Ashley and I both gave you guys some insight at some capacity. Um, Not only do we love what we do, but we love doing this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Um, but remember to stay kind and love one another because the world we live in is scary a lot of the times. And I think a lot of the change that a lot of us are looking for starts with us, normal people. Um, Even if you're famous, you're still normal. Um, and yeah, we just love what we do and we love sharing it with you guys. So,
It's Valentine's Day, and it's all about love, and love with all your heart, love with everything you got.
period.
Love all, be kind, love yourself, and
Take care of yourself.
yeah,
Period.
period.
Well, guys, we'll see you again next week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, goodbye, my angel.
Bye, my angels.